Medical medium. The medical medium. All right, well, you have to understand, you do understand, because you're going through it too. I was under 70 symptoms. I was desperate, and I've tried everything, things that could have killed me. Seen naturopaths, did the tests, did the supplements that were horrible, and eventually I couldn't even take supplements anymore. And then, you try different things. You go, well, this is whatever. This sounds pretty cool. You look at the reviews, you think, oh, this sounds like, promising. And I was all about spirituality and mediums. And I saw a medium a few times, and she was really good. And she told me, what my future would hold. And everything she said so far is right. But there was a point where I didn't believe her, because when I was in the thick of it with the 70 symptoms, bedridden, I contacted her. I could barely talk to her. And she was like, don't worry, you're going to recover. And I'm like, okay, now I know you're full of shit. Now I know you're not real. Now I know. I didn't tell her that. I was like, no, I'm not. She's like, no, yes, you are. I'm like, that's impossible. She's like, I know, but this is your journey. You're waking up. You're going to see. Your eyes will see. I'm like, okay. She's like, yes, just trust the process. It's a journey. You need it. I'm like, all right, whatever. I just put it on the back shelf, and she was right. I recovered and everything. So I was all into that. And then I came across the medical medium. I was like, this makes sense. Because I wanted to do past lives regression. I wanted to take the course from Dolores Cannon. Because I think she was dead at that time, but she was still, her company or corporation or whatever you call it, was still offering training on it. I was like, oh, that would be so cool. I could implement this with helping people once I recover. That'd be great. And I got to find somebody who does past life regression so they can tap into my higher self and see what's going on and help me. Because I saw this TV show about mediums. And there was an episode where there was this guy on it lying on the table, and there was this man channeling a doctor from the early 30s, right? The spirit came in the body, and he was like, okay, I'm this famous doctor from the 30s. Let me check you out. I will help you out. And the guy's like, all right. And he was checking him up. He's like, you are stuck in fight or flight. Don't worry, it will leave your body and you'll be back to normal. And then the guy was healed. He recovered. And it showed an interview with him. He's like, oh man, I can't even, I'm constantly triggered. I can't eat food. And the lady's like, I've lost my husband. I just want my husband back. And right? This, the whole thing. I was like, whoa, that's me. That's crazy. I got to do past life regression. And so I was totally into that. I didn't get around to it because I couldn't find anybody that was close to me. Everybody lived on the other side of the world. And I wanted to make sure they were good at it, not just somebody just read a book and decided, yeah, I do past life regression. And right, we talk about, I wanted to find somebody who was like Dolores Cannon, status, her hardcoreness. I wanted somebody like her. And I couldn't find anybody. So I thought, one day I'll take the course and I'll do it myself. But then I came across the medical medium. So my mind is open to, this medical stuff because I wanted to do it too. And then I saw this guy's been around for a while. I was like, okay, this guy's got some credibility. I check out his reviews. Everybody's like, oh my God, everything's recovered. I'm feeling like, oh my God, right? So there's people are like, you go to the Amazons and you go to the book reviews, you go to YouTubes, you go, and I don't know how I didn't see many bad reviews. Maybe this stuff is all filtered out to push sales. I don't know. But I fully was like, yeah, I'm going to try this shit. Yeah, this is sick. Wicked. I'll eventually do the past life regression, right? And I was totally convinced this is because when you have nothing's working for you, you resort to things that might seem crazy. So past life regression just seemed like a whatever. Seems like, okay, let's do it. I'm all in. I love it. I'm fully, I still believe in this shit. I still believe in past life regression. I still believe that you can go tap in to a field of consciousness and look in like a movie script and go, oh yeah, so after you died, you went and, or before your past life, 500 years ago, you did this, and then you were, this happened with your family, and then you died, and then, but the cool thing I like about past life regression that Dolores Cannon did is she would talk about the in-between, before a person went into another life. She would talk about that empty space, right? The in-between, that people don't really talk about. So in her books, they would talk about what they're feeling, what they're experiencing, their life review that they go through. They see their higher self, they see their guides, they see their soul group, all that wicked stuff. So I, went right into that, loved it. And I thought, okay, this makes sense. Well, it's just naturally I'm gonna buy his books. And I did. I spent like $400 on his books. I bought like 4 or 5 of his books. They're like these big, thick books, right? And I was like, I gotta go buy a juicer. Let's do this, right? I bought a juicer. Meanwhile, don't forget, I got 70 symptoms or more, and I'm reacting to all the foods. I have 2 safe foods, right? So I'm like, I go through all this shit, and I go, okay, blah, blah, blah. He talks about this, all right? So, I'm putting the celery in. I see I'm like, yeah. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to take a sip, because I went and bought a bunch of celery, right? And then, I forget everything I read about his stuff. But I just know that I was into it. I bought the juicer, spent a bunch of money on his books, read the reviews, did a little research, and it kind of went along my path. So I was like, this is just naturally makes sense, right? It sound like Bill Cosby. It just makes sense, Jello pudding. So I took a little sip of the celery juice, and I started having reactions, like everything else, right? And I was like, oh no, panic attack, skin reactions. Oh man, it's anxiety. I was like, man, I can't do this. I'm gonna fucking, right? And I started, having problems breathing and, right? And then I was like, and this guy expects you to drink gallons of this shit every day? I'm gonna fucking be in the hospital and out of the hospital just so I can go back into the hospital. That's how much hospital I'll be in. So I couldn't do it. And I read all his stuff. I tried a bunch of his stuff, and everything just got worse. Because already the carnivore diet, it was only keeping me, fed and giving me nutrients. It wasn't reversing anything, because this was my go-to. My carnivore diet and fasting was my go-to for everything. And this time it wasn't getting me recovered. It was just keeping me alive. So, carnivore diet wasn't going anywhere. I tried the fasting. I tried all these different things, while I was having all these symptoms, and you name it, right? I was lost, and I was okay. So my regular stuff that I was doing, different things like high vitamin C, all these different protocols, vitamin D3, like candies. I was like, like I could have poisoned myself, or maybe not. I don't know, but it wasn't working. Plus the probiotics, plus the other $500 worth of supplements that I was taking, and I was reacting to all of them. So, I tried it. It made me feel a lot worse. And it's, now, looking back, it's such fucking bullshit. All this shit is fucking crock of shit. It's horse shit. He's a fucking liar. And he got people brainwashed. And I remember I used to drop some bombs going, guys, don't follow. This is all bullshit. And people would get so triggered because, they grabbed onto something because, like me, I lost hope and I needed something spiritual, because the spiritual thing was working. It was like, yeah, I'm waking up. I'm seeing. I can, I'm at my worst I've ever been. I've fallen. I'm picking myself up. I'm scraping the scrapes, and I'm growing spiritually, which is great. But sometimes when you grow at something, you're gonna make some bad turns, and you're gonna see shit that's gonna hurt you more, right? That's part of the process, right? It doesn't mean I'm not spiritual anymore. It doesn't mean I'm like, fuck this shit, fucking, mediums suck, and I don't believe in consciousness and the other side, my higher self. I don't believe in my guides. No, I still, if anything more, it's just that this guy was a crock of shit. And I wanted to warn some people, and they fucking got triggered. They're like, oh my God, whatever, stop it. Somebody delete him. Oh my God, this is like, no, this is working for me. Just because it is not working for you, you probably didn't drink enough. You probably, right? And it's no different than the Facebook groups. The toxic Facebook groups kept me sick, and this medical medium thing was just, it pissed me off, because later on I'm like, man, everything he said was wrong. I figured it out. I took, luckily I found the ways. I took the stepping stone trainings that helped me into the space, the mind-body space, and I learned the proper methods with step-by-step ways of doing things, not just, like Joe Dispenza. He was great. I love his stuff. I bought a bunch of his books. I didn't finish all of his books, but he was great. He gave me hope. He put me in that field also, right? But he didn't give any steps. He didn't go, all right, yeah, well, you can rewire your brain, and you can totally, become healthy, and it can, you can become a new you and kill the old self. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm feeling. And he's like, all right, see you later, good night. And I was like, whoa, but what about the steps? And he'd have all these meditations that he's selling. So I'm like, in bed, go, and holding my breath. I'm holding my breath till I'm almost turning blue, almost passing out. And then finally he goes, okay, breathe. I had my headset on, right? I had my headset on, and I'm finally, let's say headset on. I had my headset on, and then finally he would say in his meditations, okay, now you can breathe. And of course, you breathe, you feel high, you feel fucked up, right? And you feel this sensation. He's like, doesn't that feel powerful? That's the power of blah, 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 blah. And, all it was is me holding my breath for too long. And of course, you're going to, your brain's going to be like, what the fuck's he doing, man? Obviously, we got to keep these alarms on. He's trying to hold his breath for what? What's that doing? Nothing. So, yeah, Joe Dispenza didn't have any steps. So I got a little annoyed with that. Put all his shit on the shelf too. And so this medical medium stuff was just, it pissed me off, because afterwards I did the right methods with steps, following steps. Some of the other programs weren't very good, and some of them were really good. Some of them were in between. Some of them were amazing. And I took the good things from all these things. I put them together, right? And then I took my experience and me being a guinea pig and me being a gerbil, more like a guinea pig. And then I made my mistakes, made the failures, pivoted, readjusted. Okay, this works. I had aha moments for my visuals, right? Spiritual downloads. You might not believe that, but 1000% I know that was happening. That's why the visuals were so important to me. They weren't just to bring my baseline down, right? They're important because it was a meeting with myself to be on track, right? If anything, if you're not a spiritual person, at least use it to bring your baseline down and to be on track, right? To have your book, right? To have your calendar, right? And your pen, and be like, okay, we're on track. Okay, we'll schedule my week out. This is, recovery's going this way. We're staying on track. We're not doing 10 other modalities, right? I was very disciplined, and I had to have the tools to do that. And that was it. But the spiritual aspect, I can't deny. I cannot deny that I was getting downloads. Clarity, golden nuggets of clarity. And it was pushing me forward. It was going, blah, blah, blah. No, this is the answer to your question. And it would give me the answers in the form of my own voice in my head. Right? It wasn't like some guy in a sandal and a robe going, hold it. Your answer to the question is, if you look at the eye of the peacock, he will look forward inside of you, and you will find the answer, which will give you... No, it was nothing like that. More like, how do you make a souffle? How long does it stay in the oven for? And the answer would be like, Well, you take it out of the oven at 14 minutes, you fucking idiot. Obviously, that's how it works. Oh, okay, that's how. So why not 15 minutes? Well, because if you have it in there longer, it'll burn. But what if you take it out at 13 minutes? Well, then it deflates, right? So you gotta, and it sounded like right? That was my downloads. It was my higher self. It was me tapping into consciousness. Me, my intuition, my gut intuition was giving me the information. So that was my spiritual mediumship, consciousness, tapping in, intuition. That's how I was growing spiritually. So, when I found the ways with the steps in all the programs in my version, and I found out what was actually working and what wasn't working, and I started getting better, and I was going through my journey, right? Recovering, getting my life back. Then I look back at some of the things I did, mistakes. I'm like, okay, I can understand that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I fucked up with this. I did that. Okay. But some of the things I look back on, I go, man, that guy is such a fucking... I felt bad for all the people that bought his books, that fell for his brainwashing bullshit. But when you get that everywhere, right? You even get psychics, mediums that are, 90% bullshit. They ruin it for the 2% that are actually doing it to help people. And you're going to get that anywhere. You get that with car salesmen. You get that with anything in life, right? Actually, everywhere you turn, it's like that. With medicine nowadays, with the pharmaceutical companies, with the foods that we eat. There's brainwashing everywhere. The news, social media, right? So why would I get so upset about this guy? Well, because I know what it's like to suffer and to look for answers and then be taken advantage of with my money and get no answers. At least if I'm going to pay $500, give me some good answers where I can recover, where I can get my life back, right? I'd rather pay $6,000 to know that I'm getting my life back, right, than pay $2 and get ripped off because the advice he gave me was horseshit. So I felt sorry for all the people. I felt sorry for myself. I was angry that this guy is profiting off people because of celery juice. And he's lying. And people are buying into it. Just like it pisses me off with all these Facebook groups. They fucking annoy the shit out of me because people are suffering. They're staying stuck. They're staying sick. Right? That affects a lot of people in their lives and their families. That's some serious shit. And some of these moderators and Facebook group people are just selling them more poison and making money off that. That to me is evil. That's horrible. And the medical medium, I felt he was the same thing. Crock of shit. And so I'm like, okay, I get rid of these books. I'm going to go donate them to the local Salvation Army or Goodwill or whatever. Then I thought, well, first I wanted to sell them. And I thought, no, don't sell them. You don't want to fucking sell to somebody and give them bad information. Like, what are you doing? You're the one that's mad at that he's giving people bad information, and you go sell it. Like, no. I'm like, yeah, but the money though. I'm like, fuck the money, right? That's when I was into manifesting, and what do you need the money for? Let it go. So then I was gonna donate them to Goodwill. I was like, no, don't fucking do that. So it took like $500, $400, I think about $400 worth of books, threw them in the garbage. Fuck that. I don't want anybody else have their lives poisoned by this nonsense. So, and it's crazy. All the bullshit throughout the years that I tried, bought into, could have hurt myself, did hurt myself, made things worse, spent the money, the energy, the brainwashing, the belief systems, the feeling of suffering, the feeling that, I was stuck, hopeless, right? Closed-minded, dark night of the soul. All the years I've been through that shit, and I somehow, like the medium said, fast forward 3 years later, fully recovered, feel happy, feel good, no symptoms. can do whatever I want, have my life back, starting a business, cleaning business, well, for a year and a bit. Right? Now I'm helping, giving back. And I'm motivated with life. I'm happy. How did I find the answers? I must have been lucky. Somebody's looking out for me. Maybe it's my purpose, you know? You go through a journey, you fall hard, right? Everything crumbles. It crumbles hard. You have nothing to fall on. You have nothing to stand on, right? Your reality is totally obliterated and destroyed, so that you have to start from nothing and see. You finally see with your eyes what reality is all about. You become spiritual. You kind of see through the walls of the 3D earth reality, and you see beyond. You tap into something and you wake up and you move forward, because there's only one way, and that's up. And I stayed on the journey, and I went head first. I had no other choice. And I think that was one of the big things that got me to recovery. Going, I have nothing else, and I'm pretty sure this is it, because of the success stories. There's my proof. There's my evidence. I'm going full steam ahead. You know what? Even if I could live 60% happier and still, function, I'm okay with that, right? But you know what? The clarity came a little bit later. Throughout the journey, clarity came. The aha moments came. So yeah, medical medium pissed me off. I felt sorry for people because it happened to me, and that shit ain't right. It's snake oil. So if you're thinking about going down that road, don't do it. Save yourself money. I didn't take any hope from you there, because you have hope here. Do these methods. Start my 7 keys to recovery. Do the work. Stay on the path. Right? Be open to it, but be consistent. Right? Download the Dare app, which is a beautiful app. It's amazing. It's meant for anxiety, but it actually works for everything. It's great for OCD. Have that as your daily routine. You have 10 minutes a day on taking the Dare app, and then you keep your schedule going. So you go through my 5 keys to recovery. It talks about being prepared, what I did, and stick to it. You don't need this, spend hundreds of dollars on this crock that just makes it worse. Save that money. Do this. Recover. And if you want to buy his books to laugh at him, well, okay, fine, buy them. That's okay. But only to laugh at him, not to find the cure for anything, because that's not going to happen. He's just going to make you feel worse, and you're going to feel like you've been had, and it'll be frustrating. Just like the many things we've been through, the many things we spent money on. It stops today, right? All right, so that's my rant about the medical medium. He's a crock of shit.